Hello students. Today we are going to take up a poem from class 11 English course syllabus. The title of the poem is A Photograph. It is penned by Shirley Tolson. Students, I'm sure all of you have seen photo albums in your homes. Albums that contains photograph of your childhood or maybe your parents' weddings or even sometimes your parents' childhoods. Have you ever taken the time to look at those photographs? What feeling does looking at old photographs invoke in us? Doesn't it bring out memories? Doesn't it leave us with a feeling of nostalgia? This is what is happening with the poet here, as she comes across an old photograph bound in a cardboard. Let us read the poem further to know more about this. A Photograph by Shirley Tolson. The cardboard shows me how it was when the two girl cousins went paddling, each one holding one of my mother's hands. And she, the big girl, some 12 years or so, and all three stood still to smile through their hair at the uncle with the camera. A sweet face, my mother's, that was before I was born. And the sea, which appears to have changed less, washed their terribly transient feet. So let's see what is happening here. The cardboard shows me how it was when the two girl cousins went paddling. Cardboard here refers to the photograph itself. So as the poet is taking a look at the photograph, she can see the picture of two little girls, two girl cousins who went paddling. Paddling refers to walking barefoot on shallow water. So the two girls are standing in the shallow water of the beach, each of them holding one of my mother's hands. So both the younger girls are holding on to their elder cousin. So the poet's mother, she was the big girl, some 12 years or so. So when the photograph was taken, the poet's mother was around 12 years. All three stood still to smile through their hair at the uncle with the camera. So as they are standing in the water enjoying the sea, there was an uncle who had accompanied them, who was trying to take a picture, take a photograph with his camera. And the three girls were very happy to pose for the camera. Look how beautiful the image the poet creates. The three stood still to smile through their hair. Now, how does one smile through their hair? Well, imagine the weather on the sea beach is windy. So, as the three girls, half wet due to the waves, as they are standing near the water, facing the camera, trying to pose, the wind, the breeze is blowing and it is putting all the hair on their head over their faces. So through all those hair, these three girls, they are smiling. A sweet face, my mother's, that was before I was born. So this photograph was taken much before the poet was born. And look, what a sweet face my mother had. And the sea, which appears to have changed less, washed their terribly transient feet. And the sea, which appears to have changed less. This is a contrast that the poet is trying to build up. On one hand is the sea, which appears to have changed less. So nature, sea, has not changed much since. But these girls, they have grown up, they have got married, they have grown old. So human being is terribly transient. Transient means something that is temporary, something that does not stay for long. Human beings, us, we are temporary. We are mortal. We grow old. We die. But nature does not change. Nature survives. Nature remains the same. Nature is constant. Nature is eternal. Human beings are mortal, temporary, and transient. The poet creates this beautiful contrast. The subject of the photograph, these three girls, they are terribly transient. But the backdrop of the photograph, this beautiful sea, the nature, that is still the same even after all these years. Some 20, 30 years later, she would laugh at the snapshot. See Betty and Dolly, she would say. And look how they dressed us for the beach. The sea holiday was her past. Mine is her laughter, both wry with the labored ease of loss. So let us see what is happening in the second stanza. Some 20 or 30 years later, after the photograph was taken, the mother would show the photograph to her daughter, that is the poet, and she would laugh, seeing the two younger cousins, and she would wonder how they had grown up so much, how little they were at that time. She would laugh at how weirdly they had dressed for a sea beach, how they had dressed inappropriately. This sea holiday that she would show the photographs and share with me, that was her past. And for me, that is for the poet, her past was her mother's laughter. The laughter that her mother would enjoy while showing these photographs or sharing these memories with her daughter. That is the poet's past. Both the pasts, the poet says, are wry with the labored ease of loss. So wry means twisted or something that is annoying, that is disappointing. The poet is trying to indicate how both these beautiful pasts, both these beautiful memories have now become wry, have now changed. Now they have become sad parts of their lives. And why does she say that? Because her mother is no more. That is why this memory that she cherished so much and her laughter both seems to be wry with the labored ease of loss. With the labored ease of loss. Labored means something that we have to work very hard for. And ease of loss. So the poet has eased into her loss with a lot of labor. This is an oxymoron. Labored, something that we have to work very hard to achieve. Ease, something easy. Labored ease of loss. The poet has eased. The poet had to accept, she had to ease into her loss, but with a lot of labor. Now, she's been dead nearly as many years as that girl lived. And of this circumstance, there is nothing to say at all. It silences. So let's see what is happening in the third stanza. Now, she's been dead nearly as many years as that girl lived. She, as in the mother, is now dead. Nearly as many years as that girl in the photograph. Her mother, when she was the child, when the photograph was taken. So the photograph was taken around 12 years, when the mother was around 12 years old. So now she has been dead nearly as many years as that girl lived. So that girl lived for 12 years when the photograph was taken. So now it has been almost 12 years that her mother is dead. And The poet do not have much to say about her loss of her mother. The poet is yet to really, truly accept the mother's loss. She still cannot face it. So she has nothing much to say. She says, "It's silence silences." It's the loss of her mother. It's silence. The silence of her mother has silenced her. Death has silenced the mother, and that loss has turned the poet speechless. Let us now discuss on some of the major themes that runs throughout the poem. Clearly, one of the most important theme in this poem is mutability or change. The photograph records a time in the distant past. We find the speaker recalling a time in the more recent past. And then the speaker finally comments on the present, when the mother has been dead for roughly 12 years. The poem is thus a meditation on the passing of time and also on the fact of loss, especially the mother's loss of her youth and the speaker's loss of her mother. Yet, the poem can also be seen as a response to and a minor victory over such a loss. Just as a photograph records the past, so that the past still in some sense exists. So the poem itself records both the photograph and the responses to it of the speaker's mother and of the speaker herself. The poem itself functions as a kind of photograph, preserving the mother, the past, so that it never completely disappears. The fact that the photograph is surrounded by or maybe pasted into a mere piece of cardboard already suggests the idea of fragility. The photograph is not surrounded by a sturdy metal frame, nor it is apparently preserved under a protective glass. Instead, the photo is in some ways vulnerable to change, as the people in the pictures have proven to be. In the photo, the mother, then 12-year-old girl, serves as a source of security and reassurance to the younger girls. Ironically, of course, the mother herself is now dead, although she protected the girl cousins when she was just a girl herself, but nothing has been able to protect her from the inevitable fact of death. The poem, in a sense, emphasizes the inexorable fate of human beings. The way most of us move from early strength to ultimate vulnerability and death. The poem is thus not merely a meditation on the speaker's mother, but also on aging, growing, weakness, and finally death. Thank you so much. Hope this will be helpful for you.